Hello. This is my first time trying to do a video like this. And I just wanted to talk about quilting a little bit. I have a lot of family that looks at this YouTube channel, so friends and people that might want to learn to quilt. So this is going to be part one of many parts. The first thing you do is you go to the store and you pick out your fabric. And it's a good idea to keep 3 to 4 minimum. You do not want to choose, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 different types of fabric for one quilt, as it can get very, very busy. It doesn't really match anything, then it can, be an issue for displaying, hanging on the wall, or putting it on your bed. And goodness, excuse me. So the first thing is to select your fabric. Here I have selected 4 different fabrics with a color theme for my next quilt. I chose this one. It's pink and gray, and you'll have to forgive me, my grow lights are red and blue, so it turns everything blue, orange, or brown, so the colors may be off just a little bit, and also kind of turns things pink too, I've noticed. I've opened all the windows so there'll be some natural light to try to make it so it's not so what it is. But so this is one that I selected, and then I selected this, which is almost a little bit more almost a solid. Okay, and then I selected this. I thought it was adorable. Little high heels with some glitter in the shoes. And then some butterflies, pink and gray butterflies, with some glitter in them as well. Now this is going to be for a twin bed for a little girl I know. And so I got 2 yards of each. I've only done 1 quilt now for a bed. I've been sewing for years. Since I was 7 or 8 is when my adoptive parents first started teaching me. My adoptive mom, I should say. And I've always done display quilts because they can be any size. I can do like a little, picture frame one, or make it big, or oblong, or oval, or, you can have fun with it that way. But when it's for bed, it's got to be big enough. So I'm hoping that I selected enough fabric. The first one I did, I had to keep going back and buying more fabric because I didn't have enough. And then, and they were sold out of what I had. So it ended up being very, very busy. But I used it as a perfect opportunity to show how you can make it work if you do get stuck in a situation like that. And how you can kind of tone it down a little bit when you have all that going on. I think there was 12 different fabrics in that one, if I remember correctly. It was very busy. So hopefully this time I started out with more, and hopefully this time I have enough. The second thing I usually do is let me back up here. The second thing you do is you wash your fabric after you get it home. There's a lot of people out there quilting that say you don't have to wash it first. That is not true. Let me tell you, I've been to several classes to see if they could teach me anything, and they are screwing up big time. One of the things they did was you could take small squares, put them together in a 9x9 patch, all these different small squares. Then they said you could cut it across, flip them, and arrange them so that they then look like they have different shapes. Let me tell you, you can't do that. Because as you sew your little squares together, you're going to have to knot it. Every time you start and every time you end, the beginning and the end of the fabric where you're sewing across, you have to knot it. Which means if you're cutting it, say it's knotted right here, and it's knotted right here, all right, on both ends, and then you're cutting down that square somewhere, all the stitching in there is getting cut off. And when I told them that, they said, but when you sew it again to whatever you're sewing it to, say it's another 9-inch square or another 20-inch patch that you sew together, they said you're going to catch all of those. But it doesn't catch, because to knot it to start with, you have to go back and forth, and make that thread multiple layers and really thick to knot it. So all that is one layer of thread that easily pulls out. You see, you're going to go one stitch there, one stitch there, one stitch across there, one stitch across there. There's no double layers of stitching in there to catch it. It just slides right on out. It won't slide out immediately. You won't even notice it for a while. But it's not going to be as sturdy and as durable for as long, because they did it that way. So, don't do that. Unfortunately, you're going to have to do it the right way, and it takes a long time, and there's a lot of cutting individual shapes, sizes, and a lot of sewing all those individual shapes and sizes in a certain way. They have to be sewed together. There is no shortcut. Not if you want a durable quilt. Now, if you're, just passing it along, we are making them for a lot of places. So, I guess they really don't care about durable. They're more about speed and want something that looks nice quickly, and want a large quantity of it. So in that sense, it works for their purpose. But the quilt, whoever they're passing it along to, the pregnancy center, the foster children that we're making them for, it's just not going to last as long. It's going to get holes and gaps, and the seams are going to come apart, and it's going to need regular sewing those places back up, and that'll come undone again, and you got to keep going. So my advice is, don't do that. Take the long road, and do it right to start with. You wash it. This is another thing they don't do. They don't wash their fabric. Or they didn't when I started, but since I mentioned it, it seems like they've started washing it. But you wash it for a couple reasons. Alright, one of the reasons you wash it is because it will ravel. And when it ravels, and this is not anywhere near what it does because I've already cut all the strings off, but when I was at the laundromat, after I washed it, all these edges had nothing but layers of strings, and these strings were, this long and catching up in here. And what happens with that is, that's what's happening inside your quilt next to the batting. Once you've sewed it all up and it's almost done, all those strings happen inside the quilt, and then it causes bunching, and there's bumps and lumps, and it's just a mess inside the quilt, and it's hard on your body. It's not soft and flexible. And so you want to wash your fabric first for that reason. You also want to wash it first so that any dyes that they use to make these are not going to bleed out into the other fabric. So if you have white fabric, you're going to want to wash it as a white product. So this would be considered white. And then if you have a dark fabric, you're going to want to wash that with darks. Otherwise, your dark is going to bleed into your light when they finally do wash it. When whoever's getting it gets it, it's going to bleed and ruin the fabric. So you're going to want to wash your fabric first for that reason. Also, it'll make it a lot more flexible, softer, so you can work with it. And there's other reasons, but those are the two main reasons. So wash your fabric first. I guess that'll be good enough for this video because it's already 11 minutes long. And unfortunately, it's going to give me a really hard time to load it to YouTube because it is so long. My phone just does not like having to load these long videos. Anything over 5 minutes, it takes hours to load. So let me stop here, and we will continue this in another video. Have a good day, or see you soon.